Hello, everyone, and welcome to 1 Week Reviews. I'm Tower, this is Knight, and down there is Pirate. And today we are going to be reviewing the new ESO chapter, because they don't call them expansions, they call them chapters, right? Blackwood. So we've been playing Blackwood for the last week since it came out, and we decided to review it. For those of you who've watched the show before, you know that we start off with going through each of our pros and cons of a game, content, expansion, chapter, whatever it may be called, and then afterwards we give our score. For those who didn't know that, now you know. So, before we get started, make sure to drop a like and get your thinker going for what you want to comment about and why Pirate is wrong. Yes. Haven't even heard his opinions yet, but he's wrong, clearly. Watch, we'll end up agreeing. But then with that being said, one other thing, if you enjoy the content that Knight does, and you want to see more of what he does, make sure to check out below the video, in the descriptions, there will be a link to his YouTube and Twitch as well, so you can also check out his stuff as well as mine here. That being said, let's go ahead and get started. So, we're going to start off with Knight! Pros and cons of ESO Blackwood chapter.
All right. So I'm going to preface this by saying that I played ESO probably more consistently than anyone else in this community.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think I'm the only one. No, I can't say the only one because technically Tam's still in the community, isn't he?
Yeah, but he doesn't really actively play ESO anymore.
So I was going to say I think I'm the only one with vet trial clears, but Tam and Amala are still technically in the community.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, they are, and they have definitely, especially Tam.
They have done more than me.
Yes,
but I have put more time and more effort into this game than either of them.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to come out and say it. Blackwood, while definitely not my favorite chapter to play through, is good and it's enjoyable. And the new sets, the new trial, the new system, I enjoyed all of that.
Cool.
Biggest pros for me, Rock Grove is fun, even if some of the higher level challenge is frustrating. There's, between the currently bugged block cost problems that came with update 30, and the just undodgeable damage, unavoidable damage in the second Rock Grove boss. Let me leave it at, okay. No, we'll get to that in cons. But I like the new trial. The new trial sets, I mean, 3 of 4 ain't bad, and stamina sets. There's basically been one good stamina set since Somerset. So I'm sorry, but I'm not wrong. As much as I want a new stamina set to shake up the meta, it's really hard to beat Kinra Reliquin right now. But yeah, companions are fun. It's nice to have friends to travel around with. I haven't fully figured out how to optimize both of them, but I have the feeling that they're going to sit around 2-3k more DPS, which isn't a ton, but I mean, more DPS is more DPS, and hey, having a friend along is fun. So, let's see, what else? The new public dungeons and the new world bosses are both very fun. I always expect the public dungeons and world bosses in new zones to be roughly on par with whatever the previous things were, and they always feel a step above what I expect. And they're always more enjoyable fights and more enjoyable stories than I ever expect them to be, which is awesome. The Overland sets are pretty darn good, all things considered. I don't think we've had anything on the quality of Bog Raider or Frostbite since... Let's see, for Overland... I don't think we've had anything of their quality. Jeez, I don't even know. I don't know if we've ever gotten anything of their quality before. Yeah, I really like the new Overland sets. The crafted sets are fun, even if I'm not positive that any of them are good. I'm not comfortable declaring that like Diamond's Victory is an actually good set yet. I have to play with it more. But new mythics are fun, even if actually that's a good time to transition into downsides. So downsides, the new mythics have a couple of really annoying lead drops. So first off, one of the mythics has 2 different PvP area drops. One of them has a lead that is set that every chance to farm it is behind a 20-hour timer. And one of them, the lead has been bugged since launch. So... yeah. And that is 3 out of the 4 mythics. And honestly, Death Dealers, I mean, unless you're a completionist like me, your inability to get Death Dealers without going into PvP probably isn't going to matter much, because you're only really going to use Death Dealer's Fet for PvP stuff. It's because it's a set for trying to get an advantage in resources, and you're not going to need that in a PvE setting more than you're going to need, say, Zon or the extra crit from the shoulder that you're dropping. Let's see, other downsides. I started talking about this a little bit earlier, but in Vet Rockgrove, there's a boss that literally deals so much damage that tanks are more or less required to use Mistform from the Vampire skill line to stay alive in the Vet Hard mode. Because otherwise they just die.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's the... You don't mind me asking, what's the damage, like...
20k damage a second damage over time.
How
that
long?
Basically gets applied constantly.
I was gonna say, how long does it last?
Too long.
Yeah.
It's too long, and it's unavoidable. It's...
Jeez. That sounds
Bonsi... Basse is... So on PTS... Basse was a struggle, but people could beat it, because on PTS, Basse had the very, very small change that got changed day 1, where you could roll dodge the attack that applied that. So you could, if you were good enough, avoid a 20k damage a second cast. Which I feel like I don't need to say why having an unavoidable 20k damage a second debuff is a little bit scary and a little bit
too much.
Harsh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, I don't know. I personally have not yet gone into Vet Rockgrove. I will be doing I did a normal run 2 days ago, and I will be doing my first Vet Rockgrove with my progression group next Monday. So, grain of salt for that. all of the stuff that I know about Vet Rock Grove, I've picked up from the other people in my guild who've played it, and from watching TC Lee, and to watch him talk about it. The other really big complaint I have is Oblivion portals, because they're a more or less random spawn that you just have to stumble upon and find, and otherwise you can't do world events for the new zone. It's the kind of the same problem we had early with Harrow Storms. If we're meant to be able to farm these things, we just can't, because they're too inconsistent of spawns. So I'm hoping they have some sort of rotation for them or something in the future. Let's see. What else? So this is less a downside and more just my personal annoyance. Those of you who have been on my, who have paid attention to my stuff enough, know that I don't exactly like sets like Reliquid and Sororia. I don't like things that are, if you're not running this, you're losing so much damage. Which is part of why I'm pleasantly surprised by how well Bonsi's Mania is doing in Parses, because I didn't think they were going to actually make something that could compete with Sororia anytime soon. But they also put out the Mythic Harpooner's Wading Kilt, which, if you're good enough, and that is a pretty big if, because this really only applies to the actual highest level of player, and not as many people as think they are the highest level of player. It is a 5k DPS increase. If you're not on that super high level, which I know I'm not, that's why I'm not focusing getting this thing, it's going to be maybe a 2k DPS increase if you're lucky, and if you're unlucky, it'll actually be a DPS loss. So so Harpooners is reward you for not taking damage, which, sure, fine, but you're losing. I suppose it's fine for a stamina character without too much loss, but on a magic character, which straight up we run this on magic characters, even though it's a medium piece of gear, because why not? On a magic character, you're losing a decent chunk of your penetration, which is annoying. I also touched a little bit on this in my upsides, but the medium trial set is underwhelming. Admittedly, when compared to, Kind's Aegis, 3 out of 4 is much better than 1 out of 4 for runability. So, grain of salt and all that, but hey, would still really like to have another medium set that can compete with Reliquid, please. Just at some point in the future. Let's see, anything else I wanted to talk about? I don't know about you guys, but I have never. They were supposed to roll out Endeavors with this expansion, and I haven't seen them. I haven't actually gotten any yet.
Same.
So a bit of a downside there for update 30, I guess, because Blackwood is. Endeavors aren't technically tied to Blackwood specifically. And finally, and this is very much a personal gripe more than anything. I think that this change needed to happen. I'm just a little bit personally annoyed with it because it's made my job harder. They changed how proc sets work, so now they scale off of certain resources. Which means that when I'm reading stuff for a show like Left of Meta, links in the description, I can't give accurate numbers anymore because they now scale. So if I'm reading, say, Deadlands Assassin, I can't say, oh, this set deals 100 damage and then 800 damage bleed if they're below half. I have to say so this set deals physical damage and then a bleed because the numbers scale off what character it's on. Yeah. Yeah, that is an entirely petty personal thing.
Fair.
Yeah. But yeah, otherwise, I am thoroughly enjoying this expansion. I think that the new trial sets are really good. I think that the new overland sets are really good. I like the new mythics. I wish Kilt feels a little bit overtuned, even after the nerf in PTS. And I'll have to play more with the crafted sets to actually say.
Okay.
I think Diamond's Victory is good, but yeah, overall, I thoroughly enjoyed this one.
All right. Cool. Thank you, Eclair.
You did it!
We got whatever.
No! I was saying night!
But you said
Didn't sound like night to me.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna go. Actually, I'm gonna have Pirate. Do your pros and cons, and then I'll go.
Okay. I don't know how I want to say this.
We're ready.
If I hadn't already bought the expansion and updated my my time of being a Plus member, I'm not sure I would. The storyline, love it. Love the storyline. I love a lot of the updates to the gear. Love a lot of the new gear that I've played with. I've been playing around with changing things out because, like Knight was saying, it's hard to gauge some of your damage because based on different events and different situations, it seems to change what damage you're doing with the same attack, same sequence. So that makes it a little tougher on that end for me. The storyline thus far has been great, though there has been so much downtime. Every time I have time to get on, I haven't been able to play a lot. So I've literally lost time, and I really feel like the company should be making some kind of offers for those who have paid in to compensate like an additional month or something, because we've seen so much downtime since this release. And I know a lot of people's take is, well, it's a game, it's this and that, but we're not beta testing this, okay? I mean, I don't go to a car dealership, buy a car, and it runs every other day, because I definitely would not be happy. I would not keep the car. I would want my money back. And I would go to someplace else. So in this case, I wouldn't play their game. I'd go somewhere else and play where I'm not going to be as frustrated. When games used to come out, they were on a disc. There was no internet. There was no updates. If the game didn't work on release, it wasn't going to work. And I think that they've come to this excuse of everything's in pre-release and that the players that are paying for these games are beta testing for them now, which is ridiculous. That being said, I love the companions, but there's been so many glitches with like people losing their gear and things not coming out right. The drop rates seem to have been reduced quite a bit from the opening, which makes it very challenging because the only way you can get your gear is RNG. The chances of what you get are RNG. Obviously, the better gear even has a worse RNG. So, I mean, I've been really lucky at finding gear, but like 99% of what I find doesn't work for the character I want to use. So it's kind of frustrating. I mean, it's a plus and a negative all in the same time with each of the things that I've seen with the new release. My biggest pet peeve, though, is the downtime and so many glitches with this release. We saw a few glitches in the last release. It was a little frustrating. some of the. I mean, I feel like we got some of the same problems like with last time, and I cannot remember what they were called. And I know Knight said it. Instead of the dolmens, we had the
Harrow Storms.
Harrow Storms, which were kind of weird, but at least you kind of could figure out where they were eventually and kind of get an idea, and there seemed to be enough groups for it. But with this new one, it's like a blip in the middle of nowhere. I haven't really looked, and I'm trying to figure it out on my own, so I haven't really gone searching or Googling. But it's like, because that's part of the challenge of playing a game to me, is learning it. So, like, I've only seen 2 in all of my travel. And, like, totally, the first one I came upon, didn't even know what it was. You pop in, and it's like this, it's a dungeon, basically. And you're not going to do it by yourself. So unless there's other people there, it seems like that's almost impossible. And how are you going to get a group together when you don't know where they are or when they're appearing? So that seemed a little frustrating with that. But again, I've only found 2 of them so far, so maybe that's not a fair understanding of how they work. So that seems a little weird to me. I guess the biggest thing for me was the storyline thus far of what I've been able to do has been really good. The leads, because I like doing the scrying and that, the leads seem to be a little more odd. And a few of them are really challenging to get, like one of the mythic ones where you have a 1 chance in 20 hours of getting it by, first of all, you have to have the ability to what is it, Brotherhood, right?
Yep, I did that. I got it today. Woo!
So you gotta have, first of all, you gotta have Brotherhood to even get the lead. Then you gotta find the guy that's in one of the hiding spots to try and buy it from, and then you got an RNG chance of getting it, and you can only buy from him every 20 hours.
Can I say something quick, Pirate?
Yeah, go ahead.
So my experience personally with that, I just got the lead today. I literally, because it is such an annoying thing that is time gated, which is dumb. It is not only RNG, it is RNG time gated. That is the worst possible combination you can do, because I can't even just keep bludgeoning my head into a wall to eventually get it from the RNG. No. And you have to go to specific spots. So I literally just didn't play that character. That's what that system made me do. Because I was like, why leave? Because I'm just going to have to travel back once every 20 hours. Make sure I log on first thing in the morning because you don't want to do it too late in the day. Because if you do it too late in the day, well, then you're going to lose out on a day because, real life responsibilities, sometimes you don't have exactly the same time available every day.
And that's a problem for anybody. A lot of these things that they set into these games, and it's not just ESO that does it. It's you act like the game is real life for people, which for some people it is, and I understand that. I mean, WoW is the same way, and a lot of the other ones. Black Desert is another one, but at the same time, it's like you can't make the game for the person that's a working person, so that it's almost impossible for them to play other than the basic game, because then your people, you're losing people who would potentially play the game, which is going to make the game more fun with more people, because they're just going to get bored with, I can't accomplish this anyway because it takes too much time or this or that. I mean, and I get taking time. I mean, you want it to be a challenge. You want it to be a mental and a physical challenge doing the tasks. But when you make it over the top, like that example,
slot machine, non-slot machine,
it's just it's I did Malakat's Band. Okay, that took me I believe a month and a half, and I played almost every day because some of the drops were in dungeons, and they were on the last boss, and it was an RNG, and I would run them 20, 30, 40 times and still no drop. It's come on. At what point does this become insanity?
Yeah.
So And I gotta feel like, you got yours. I haven't gotten mine yet from that vendor. So I'm like, okay, so how long is this gonna take? 2 months just to get this one drop? And there's no point in getting the other ones until you have that one, because that's obviously the hardest one of that series. There's other ones that I'm still working on from the last expansion, which I haven't been diligently playing a lot at this point, but I mean, there's ones that I've worked on every time I'm on, and I'm doing some stuff, and I still haven't gotten them.
Can I add one thing real quick, Pirate? Just because I don't want to forget this, and you're making me think of it. So, on top of the fact that it is literally a 20-hour lockout RNG slot machine on top of a RNG slot machine, if you get it, you then have, I believe, 30 days to get the rest of the leads, or you lose it, and the rest of the leads are also connected to not as bad RNG slot machines.
Guys, so I would like to correct something here.
Okay.
Because that's not entirely true.
The 30 days?
If you pick how you're wording that is wrong.
Okay.
Because you have 30 days per lead, but if you get the lead and then find it within that 30 days, you have that collected item in your records. So if I pick up 4 out of the 5, wait a year, and then get the 5th, I still get the mythic item.
Yeah, that's fine. That is true. But it still doesn't, it is true, but it also doesn't change the fact that if you're the type of person that wants to...
If your scrying isn't high enough to do the lead, that's where you run into a problem. Like, I haven't hit Ultimate yet. With all the leads I've ran, I still have not hit Ultimate.
So that's a whole nother discussion. But I just wanted to put that in there because of the example where it's so much RNG on top of RNG, and then on top of that you have a time limit on it, is, in my opinion, way too much to expect of anybody, even your hardcore players. But go ahead, Pirate.
Yeah, I mean, counter argument: people had Thracian Stranglers 2 days after Greymore released. Straight up.
Yeah, but imagine the amount of time and the RNG had to be on their side. That's the thing with RNG. It can bless you, it can curse you. It's not something you can actually, I guess, skillfully do. It's sort of like a shiny Pokemon. I mean, I can keep trying to catch the shiny Turtwig, but if the math it's literally a slot machine. If the dice don't pop, it doesn't pop. There's nothing you can do to change that.
I suppose, but at least for mythics, for the most part, the drop rates are relatively high. I completed 6 mythics in about a month.
Yeah, but I don't know. For me, it's more so just this specific mythic, which is why I asked Pirate if I could add in. I feel like normally they're already pushing the envelope with how much RNG and disrespecting the player's time, in my opinion, they're doing with the system. This kind of brings it to a whole new level because of that specific 20-hour lock. I mean, it's not even like it's every day that there's a server reset, you can do it. It's a 20-hour lock on top of all of these other stupid little things, which is already, in my opinion... which, yes, you could get them in a reasonable amount of time, but that's the key. You could, and it's not a matter of skill. Like, you could keep doing it. I could have kept doing this vendor every day for 365 days, and there is actually a reasonable argument that it wouldn't drop because every day you do it does not increase the drop rate. It stays the same.
Yeah.
So...
yeah, that's...
with
that is the one lead I don't like.
And at that's
coming from the guy who doesn't want to do PvP.
Yeah, and at that point, you are not respecting your player's time. And like Pirate was kind of saying, like, if you I get that for some people this is all they do, but like for a lot of people, like, that's not the case. And you're like, I understand locking content behind, like, challenges or difficulties, or, like, there's certain dies that, like, oh, you gotta beat this veteran raid to do this die. I get that. It's a challenge. It's a goal. But there's a difference between a challenge and RNG. The feeling is completely different. One is a dopamine rush that is a chance, and one of them is a adrenaline pumping, yeah, we did it, guys, kind of moment. Like,
well, I'm working on a piece of gear right now that, well, actually, there's 3 different pieces. 2 of them take 50 days to acquire because you have to get the merit. So you can actually, and then you buy the piece, and then you have to convert it into a ruin so that you can actually make it into a piece of gear, or not a gear, but what am I trying to say?
Gear or cosmetic?
Cosmetic.
Because those are different.
And then there's a helmet that's part of the same series, and these are all in PvP areas. And that one takes 20 days. So right there, that's 120 days if you happen to be able to get on every day and do it. And again, that's another one with a time frame. You can only do it every 20 hours.
But at least that's a guarantee. When you do it, you get it.
Yeah, it's a guaranteed 1 merit as long as you wait the time. So, I mean, it takes a little bit more. But so if you want all 3 things, that's 120 days plus. And you also got to have the Telvar to buy the pieces on top of that, which they're not super expensive, but they are 1,000. So if you're not a big PvPer and you just want that piece, it's a lot of work and a lot of time, you know.
But at least it's a guarantee.
But at least it's a guaranteed versus a total RNG with a lockout. So I mean, I'm not real heavy, and I don't know if there's any other ones so far. That's the ones I've come across. But so I mean, it's a middle of the road thing. You know, but it's, you know, for me, it's irritating.
Okay.
So that's my piece, you know, on the whole thing.
All right. You got any other cons, pros, or?
A lot of it is I haven't been able to. Every time I've had time to play, the game's been down. Like, I bet you 50% of the time when I've gone to play, on days where I've had time, where I'm not working, we're servers down, mega servers down. It's like, come on. Like, literally, I logged on one day and it was like, servers closing in 10 minutes. It's like, you can't even do anything.
All right.
So that's been my experience thus far.
All right. Thank you, Pirate. All right, I'm going to go into my pros and cons. I want to preface this with, I have a note here. It says, starting with joy, leading to disappointing moments. This is kind of how I felt with this whole expansion. There is so many good things, and then there were so many things that put a bad taste in my mouth that I think in the long term the good things will outweigh. But as someone who's reviewing this as a 1-week thing, I think these things need to be brought up, because if they don't, they'll just keep happening if the companies don't have any repercussions for what they're doing. But I'm going to start with the pros. Companion system. This was the big highlight for me for this expansion. This was actually the thing that got me interested in playing ESO again, because they said that you could use them in any content other than PvP or solo content. And for me, that was like, okay, well, even if they're not great, because we normally want to do raids, but we only do like normal raiding, and we don't have all the people all the time. So if we can fill some of those slots with companions, that's cool, right? So that was the big excitement for me. So I went deep dive into the companions. So I'm going to go on what I like about the companions, and then cons I'll go with the bad things. I really love that you have to level up the companions. I know some people might not like that, but it kind of is cool. It gives you this sense of progression. I like that you can customize their skills. I like that there's quest lines to unlock the skills. It's very fun. I like that it encourages you to group up with others with how it's set up. But we'll get back to that, because there's also a con to that. But I believe it's a temporary con. But it's still a con that needs to be brought up. But so that is cool. The companions are cross-character, which is really nice, because they're the same companions, so that would be really annoying, leveling up the same companions, especially, like, I mean, I only play, like, 3 characters. Knight here has... I mean, I know you said
okay. I technically have 18 characters.
Yes.
Technically. I play about 5, and I'm planning to push that to 6 or 7, with a couple once I finish leveling the last 2.
Yeah, so I'm really happy that the leveling and gearing is across character, because otherwise I feel like that would be obscene with how it works. If you could craft the gear, I don't think it'd be obscene, but you can't. So I think it's obscene. It would be obscene. They allow me to play my tank. I'm actually able to quest on my tank and not take half a year, which is really nice.
Bless you.
One sec. Okay. So that's really cool. The story, I'm really enjoying the story of what I've been able to play through it due to downtime. Because I was trying to play through it with Pirate. Currently on chapter 4. I'm enjoying it. I like that the story, it's not this insanely over-the-top crazy thing, but it's also not like just, oh, I'm a farmer walking through the woods. La 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 la. Like it's exciting, but it's not too far. At least at the point I've been to, which.
So he hasn't finished it, everyone.
Yeah, which I haven't. Like I said, I'm on.
He hasn't gone to the fort yet.
I'm on chapter 4, so I'm enjoying it so far. I think the new mythics are cool. Those are my pros. Now on to the cons. So I have this nice bright section on my notes saying bugs encountered. So here we go. All right, step 1, companion gear bug. Companions spontaneously losing gear that you can't craft and you can't modify. And when you contact customer service, they basically tell you to F off. Well, actually, they say, oh, well, we're patching it. And then when you tell them, okay, that's nice that you patched it, but I still don't have my stuff back, they respond with, what was it they said?
See previous message.
See previous message. So I tried 3 more times to explain, I understand that you patched it. I want my gear back because I cannot craft it, and you are not respecting my time as a consumer. Which, you can't tell me they can't GM spawn things into the game. And you're even if they gave me green on the spot that I had, the spots I had blues, it would have been something. I mean, I just found out you can buy grays, but that's not the point. They're still not respecting your time as a player with that, which is pathetic on the customer service end.
Gray, not green.
Yeah, gray, green, whatever. The fact that you have to fix the problem that they caused is a problem. So that was ridiculous, especially with how much the companion gear was selling for. That was ridiculous not to restore it. Excessive downtime. I could be remembering wrong, but I don't remember Greymore having this much downtime. I remember it having downtime, but a lot of it was scheduled downtime. A lot of this stuff, they're just kind of out of the blue. Oh, we're doing it now, or they would schedule it an hour in advance, and a lot of it was happening during the day, which I get that their peak hours are probably evenings, but you keep pounding the same group of players with downtime over and over and over and over again, we're gonna get pissed off. Excessive kicks from the server. I normally get kicked from the server randomly, which is not on my end, because me and Pirate are literally on the same freaking connection completely.
And I don't get kicked.
Yeah, and I have a way better computer than him. Way better. And this expansion has just increased it. Anytime I go to a new zone, kick. Anytime I walk through a door, there's a 50-50 chance I will disconnect from the server, and it won't even count me going through the door! So I have to try to go through the door again. It's not even like I get kicked, but I made it through the door, so now I don't gotta go through that again. No! I still gotta kill through the door!
Wait, two side notes there. One about gear and one about what you're saying.
Okay.
Not only does it not put you through the door, because I've had this happen, it consumes coinage if you're trying to go from one place to another.
Yes.
Or it consumes, if you're in the city, it consumes your return token.
Yeah, it'll actually...
And yet you didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, it'll actively consume your return token in Imperial City and disconnect you and leave you where you were. So not only you're losing PvP points, you're losing your return token or gold, and you are not even moving, and you're getting booted from the game. Which is,
and then the other
pathetic.
side note, a gear issue, and again, talking to customer service, I might as well beat my head into the wall.
Yeah.
I have a crafted piece of gear that I've upgraded, and once I upgraded to purple, I wanted to, I was going to put a different glyph on it.
Yeah.
I can't change the glyph. Like, it's glitched. I can't change the glyph, and I can't upgrade it to gold. And I don't know why. I mean, it's a common piece of New Moon gear. It doesn't make any sense. And, like, I put in a ticket about it. They totally ignored me. Like, literally, they sent me a thing saying, well, you can only use glyphs on certain pieces of gear. Well, no, I know that. I've explained that. I wrote out this whole thing when I sent in the complaint. And they totally ignored what I said. So I respond again, yes, I understand how glyphs work. I understand how the whole progression system works. I've been playing for quite some time. But this is glitched. Is there a reason? I mean, I don't want to build a whole nother pair and it does the same thing. Is this like an ongoing thing? And they get sent back. You can only use these glyphs on this, these glyphs on this. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, they don't. Their customer service is a joke. It didn't used to be when I first started playing.
It's actually gotten way worse.
With with around the time of this launch, like their ticket responses and customer service has gotten way worse than it used to be. Because they used to be like, I have history of tickets like I put in, I got a response, and like, yeah, you can blame COVID for that all you want, but then you need to hire more people. Once again, I'm a consumer paying for a product. I don't really care, if your product's not working and your customer service to fix the product isn't working, then as a company, you are responsible. Simple as that. You can't handle it, then you shouldn't have put out the product yet. You should have delayed it until it was ready. That's not my fault as a consumer. That's your fault as a business. Oh, yeah, this. So this is something I said I would bring up later. You cannot pull out more than 2 companions unless there are 5 or more players in a group, because there is no way to manually change your group to a large group other than having more than 4 players. Even though that really cool quest system I was talking about, where you share the quests, encourages you to do just that, so that you can make more progression on your skill lines, and being that it's an MMO, you'd think they would be trying to encourage group play. Now, I believe I read on the website that this was something they were working on fixing, but as far as I'm aware, it has not been fixed. I could be wrong there. I haven't tested it in...
Yeah.
Well, we did test it the other day and it didn't work.
Yeah,
we should test it more recently then, because the last big patch was Monday and we haven't tested that since.
Yeah, okay. We haven't tried it since.
But nonetheless, I still feel the need to bring it up because once again, this is a bug that someone considered shippable. I don't think it is. I think in an MMO, that's quite ridiculous, especially with one of your new big frontline like. This is your headline system. Like, with Greymore, the headline system was the vampire rework in Antiquities, right? Those were, like, the headline things.
The headline system was Antiquities.
Yeah, Antiquities. So, for this one, Companions, your big headline system. Bugged.
Really bad.
Like, I can understand letting a few, like, small things, go under the brush, whatever. I mean, it's still annoying, but I could see it happening. Shippables, whatever. But your headline system should not be behind. The new zone, it's pretty, but it feels like there's supposed to be more, and maybe this is just a personal gripe. I don't know, I kind of want to get your guys' take on this. It feels very empty and kind of lifeless when you're not inside the cities, and even when you're in the cities, like comparatively to any of the other cities that feel like they have like a some sort of culture or life to them. Like, even if you're not questing, you walk into the city and, like, the NPCs are, like, saying things like, dragons in your own homeland, for example, or something like that. And, like, I don't know, just, like, something about it felt empty comparatively to the rest of the game. It felt a little jarring going from one to another.
On a positive spin to that, yeah. I actually liked the emptiness because, and it's the one thing I hate with 99% of the games out. Okay, we got the biggest map ever. Well, I won't say who I'm talking about.
Star Wars. SWTOR, Eldoron.
You can only go on this path through this area. You're every place you go, there's a wall. You can't just go. Oh, I can't climb over this 2-foot tall piece of stone. Oh my god! You know, I mean, SWG was perfect. Like, you could almost go anywhere.
You saw it, you could go to it.
Because you could travel. There was, like, yeah, there was some cliffs and stuff that blocked your way, or a building here and there, but you could go around them. You know, every other MMO that I've played, I think, over the years, they all block you in, so, like, you only have set pathways to go on. And it's so, I mean, okay, so if you ain't got flying, you can't get over it. And a lot of these games don't have flying. So you got to find this one little hole somewhere that doesn't clearly show on the map to get around this stupid wall, building, city, whatever, to get to where you need to go. And I mean, that's so annoying to me in every game. So in that perspective, I really seem to like what I've done of the area so far. Because it's that open feeling. It's like you can just keep walking and walking and walking forever in a direction or whatever. It seemed to be a lot more open, and I like that. I mean, yes, there was a lot of things missing. You could throw in more villages and stuff, but make them so you can walk through them. I mean, not everything is a walled-up castle that you can't go through.
I think we kind of agree in that sense that, like, I'm not necessarily saying there needs to be more walls, stuff like that. I agree that aspect of the zone is very good. But, like, I don't know. There's just... I can't quite put my finger on it, but comparatively to the rest of the zones in the game that I play in, like, Elsewhere feels alive. Like, there's a culture to it that you can feel when you're in the zones. It may not be, like, even the zones that don't have a lot of living characters, or, like, the camps that, like, maybe there's a sad story going on in a zone, so that, like, most of the people are dead. But the people that are there still have a certain feeling to them that's kind of accentuated throughout the zone. I don't get that vibe in Blackwood. I don't really get any sort of vibe. It just kind of feels...
empty,
like I'm in a zone. And maybe that's just
part
me.
Of that, I think part of that is that this is a very Imperial and Argonian zone. And, well, I will say that, and if I'm being honest, Gideon felt a little bit more alive than Leowyn did. And maybe that's just me, and that's also... I haven't spent as much time in... either Gideon or Leowyn as I have in Solitude and Morthal or in most of the base game cities. But, I mean, admittedly, if they put the Undaunted people in any of the DLC cities, I will legitimately spend more time.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because... I don't want to have to travel from wherever I'm doing my writs to one of the capitals just to pick up my pledges for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I don't know. But I don't know. I didn't really notice it as much. I will say that for Overland stuff, it's going to feel more empty for the first week or so, because right now everyone and their brother is running around Blackwood. Because it's the new content.
But when I'm mostly playing, it's actually not as heavy with players, because I usually play, like, really early in the day when it's less players. It's not even that, like I said, I can't really put my finger on it, but it's not even like I'm running into a lot of players that are clearing stuff. I'm just, I don't know.
There's a different feel to it.
It's some like every other zone I've gone to, within about 2 hours, I kind of get a feeling for the zone. Like there's like a culture to it. There's an aesthetic. There's like a something, like whether it be music or whether it be just like dialogue you hear from citizens as you walk around the cities, or the monsters. Like, I don't know. And and what makes it more jarring is that when you're doing the main story, it's so good, and then the moment you stop doing the main story, or you're traveling from like point A to point B with no like dialogue or anything immersive happening in between, the zone feels dead. Whereas like when I was doing the Greymoor story or elsewhere, even when I finished the main story, I still felt like still to this day, I go into Solitude and it's like, yep, this feels right. Like, I go into Vardenfell, which I hate Vardenfell, but Pirate's always there, so I go there a lot. There's a very specific feeling for Vardenfell. Like, I hate Vardenfell. He's always there, and I'm always giving him my materials, so I've always stuck going to Vardenfell. But even though I hate Vardenfell, there's a feeling about it, you know? With Blackwood, there's no feeling. It's not bad, it's not good, it's just there. Like, it exists. It's I don't know.
This is maybe a stupid question.
Okay.
But do you get that same sort of feeling about Gold Coast?
No, I love Gold Coast. It feels like it has like a culture to it. The cities there feel alive. That's what I'm saying. Like, every other zone I've been to, heck, even the starter zones have like a specific feel to them. They might not be the strongest feel, but they have a specific I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. Feel's the best word I've got, so I'm going with it. But like, it's something about it. It just feels dead. It's not alive. And not dead in like a dark, kind of gritty way. Just like, I don't know. Like, I feel like I could be walking through anywhere and it would be more exciting.
I have to wonder if, because
maybe it's just me. I don't know.
Maybe it's just you, but I have to wonder if the music isn't coming in as much, or just isn't as good for this expansion. Yeah, because normally, I don't know.
Like,
I'll have to go look up the OST for this one, because, like, so I'll be honest, I love the music in this game, and
yeah,
every chapter has such beautiful and distinct music that it's so good.
Well, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I need to look at what the this expansion's looks like.
Yeah, because I don't know. It's just, so I had to put it as a con because it was really bugging me, and I was kind of curious if it was just me or you guys saw it too. Because I know, like, I don't know. It seemed weird. I couldn't put it into words.
I haven't quite noticed that, but yeah, I wonder if it's a music thing. I wonder if the OST for this expansion is different.
Yeah, it feels like, I don't know. Comparatively, it's not. Yeah. But anyway, on to my next thing. No companion gear modding or crafting or research. I am not a big crafter in this game. I used to be when I was a Plus member. Not anymore, because I don't have the craft bag. But I really feel like this was a missed opportunity, not letting players research the companion gear and the companion gear traits, and maybe adding companion sets. I think that would have been a really good thing, and I think it was a massively missed opportunity to not do it that way. So for me, that's a con. But those are my pros and cons. Very good concept. Very hyping, very exciting, But at the end, because of the bad taste in my mouth from all the issues and a lot of the odd things that I can't even explain, overall it left me feeling kind of meh, not good, not bad. That's where I'm at with it. I don't think it tarnishes the game at all. I think the game is still good because ESO is a good game. But as a expansion first week experience, it didn't add the level of intensity for me that it would have if it had not had these issues, or I don't know. But with that being said, we're going to move on to ratings, 1 to 10, and why. And for those of you who don't know, is the lowest rating for us, and 10 is the highest. So let's go ahead and get that started with Knight, 1 to 10, and why.
So I'm gonna go with an. I'm gonna go with a 9.
Okay.
And part of that is because I didn't have as many bugs as the rest of you did.
Yeah.
And I'm rating more my personal experience than Open.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. That's the way to do it.
The two big things that I'm disappointed with are Rock Grove being as high damage as it is. It's going, and the fact that most prog groups are currently like saying, okay, we need to vamp tank this if we're doing hard. And the frustrations with the new mythics are those are really the two big things that make me want to take points away. And so yeah, I'm going with a 9. Overall, very exciting stuff. Fun new trial. Great new sets. I'm still amazed that Bossy's made it to print. I'm also amazed that Harpooner's made it to print. I am legitimately happy about Bossy's. I joke about it. I joke that I'm amazed with it, but I'm legitimately happy that we have something that can compete with Sororia that's an actual interesting set. And, you know, I'm certainly not going to complain about actual interesting sets being in the game and being, competitive.
I'm with him on that.
So yeah, I'll give it a 9.
All right, cool. All right, Pirate, 1 to 10, and why?
I really like the game, but with all of the downtime and the bugs that I've encountered and some of the RNG problems seem to be like you've been created more issues for me as a player, I'm going to have to say I'm going to go with a 5. I mean, if I was going strictly on the gameplay for just this, if I was a totally new player coming into this, I'd say like a 2.
Yeah.
But because I've played before and I know the game system and I like what they do and I really like this MMO compared to 98% of them out there, on that end of it, I would say the game as an overall, I would say is a 9.5. It's to me, it's one of the best MMOs that I've played in all the years playing, and I've been around playing since Monochrome. So before pictures, for those of you that don't know what that means. First game I ever played was called Bard's Tale, and you had to read it. It was on a TRS 80.
Old man yells at cloud intensifies.
So, yeah. So I'm going to hit it right in the middle of the road because looking at it from both ends of the perspective of the whole overall versus what's going on right now, I would say it's a 5 to me. Just for that fact that I know what they're capable of. I don't understand the concept, and I'll go back to the car analogy. Would you buy a car that you're driving down the road and your tires randomly disappear? or that only drives every other day, I mean, I don't think so. You'd not be a happy camper. So, yeah, we'll go with that.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I had a really hard time with this because I don't know. I really love the fact that the companions are in the game. I really love the new story, and I do like ESO a lot. It is a good game. The combat system is one of the best in MMOs. I mean, the only other MMO that I think has a really, really good combat system that I've played is Black Desert, but Black Desert fails in every other regard. Like, it has the best combat system, best customization. Everything else sucks about that game. So, like, comparatively, it's not as good. Because if the game's not good, then who cares if the combat system's good? Like, I mean, but I don't know. I'm torn because I don't want to give this below a 5. But I should preface this with I am judging this solely based on the first week experience that I had with the launch. So because of how buggy it has been, and because I don't think this game was ready to launch yet, and I don't know who's responsible for forcing the launch, but I don't think that this was ready to launch. They had to know this. I mean, I'm sure there's some bugs that like didn't come up and couldn't come up without them mass testing the server. But once again, they could have done an in-house mass test. They could have hired a bunch of QA. It is not the player's responsibility to fix the bugs. And I think that's the big thing, is that's the big thing with this. And I feel like because I like it so much, just like with Path of Exile with their last update, because I enjoyed Path of Exile so much, because I enjoy ESO so much, I have to care more and be a little bit harder so that I can make sure that when the next thing comes out, it's up to the quality that I know they are capable of doing. 4.5 is what I'm going to go with. I think that as a launch, this was a below average launch. I think that long term, they're going to fix all these bugs and it's going to be great. And I think that it will become up to an 8 or a 9. I don't think these bugs will last forever. But as of right now, and with how the customer service has been lately and everything else, 4.5 from me, with a expectation that in the future it will be an 8 or a 9 in my eyes. I'll say 4 months down the road, 3 months down the road, when they probably should have launched the game instead of now. And maybe that's just a random estimate. I mean, but that's my take on it. So yeah, 4 point. You know what? I'll be a little more generous. 4.6. I'm gonna do 4.6. Yeah. Okay. So with that in mind, we have a 9 from Knight, a 5 from Pirate, and a 4.6 from me. Can I get some quick maths on the total and the average?
Total is 18.6. Average is 6.2.
That sounds about right for this, honestly. 6.2 for this launch. Yeah. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this episode of 1 Week Reviews. I really appreciate it. Special thanks to Knight and Pirate for joining me. Once again, if you haven't already, make sure to check out Knight's YouTube and Twitch. Their links are in the description below. Also, make sure to drop a like on the video because I know you want to see more of our lovely content. I hope you do, yeah. Or dislike it if you hate my face, I guess. You know, you could do that. And make sure to drop a comment about why Pirate was clearly wrong, and I totally disagreed with him in every way. Yep, that's what happened.
Yes, because Pirate's definitely the dissenting voice in this review.
Yes, it's Pirate. He's the dissenter. He's the one that's not part of the overall. Yes.
I am the imposter.
You're the imposter.
9, 5, 4.6. And Pirate's clearly the dissenter.
Alright. We'll see you all next time here at the 1 week reviews. Bye. Special thanks to our patrons Blue Phoenix, Louie, Drew, Hollowed Zen, Antiox, Kazlor, Ninth Pawn, AJ, Evil Gummy Bear, A Knight Errant Gravy Train, and Suboptimal Preservation Society. Thanks, guys!